I call this meeting of the Mount Vernon Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. At this time, we need a motion to certify the agenda. Motion is made by Robert, seconded by Scott. All for? 6-0. Let the record show that Leanne Ramsey is not present at this time. Brooke will lead us in a prayer.
Dear Lord and Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight first to give thanks for the many blessings you bestow upon us as individuals, our community, and the nation as a whole. Lord, we ask for your guidance and wisdom tonight as we try to do what is best for the staff and students of MVISD. We ask for your blessings and your protection as everyone goes home tonight. In these things I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Brooke. Let's do our pledges.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
All right. Anybody here to speak in open forum? Nope. So this time we'll move on to item 3, budget workshop and discussion of taxable values. And you got this?
That's me. Put my glasses on. Okay, this is going to be a preliminary look at our 21-22 budget. And I'll let you know that it is very preliminary at this point. We only have preliminary values from the 2 appraisal districts. We will not get our certified values until July 26th this year. And we also still have staff being hired at this time, so we're still estimating some things on the payroll side. But we are, you can see there what we're projecting as far as local and state revenue. Our values, our preliminary values have gone up again. You know, we took a big jump last year in our taxable values with the appraisal district doing some catch-up that they had to do. And this year, we're also seeing another increase, but it's not near as much as we had last year. So we're expecting, after ARB hearings and so forth, for our values to still be up, but not as much as it was last year. We use the Region 13 template, and this is all based off of the most recent release. And the template has us, because of our values continuing to go up, has our preliminary tax rate going down again. So instead of 1969, I believe is, 0.9169, last year it'd be 0.89, so go down about a penny. And we don't know yet on our INS. INS is based on your values compared to what the debt payment is that you owe. Because our values went up, I expect our INS rate to go down slightly, but maybe only a penny or a half a penny, something like that. So those are all very preliminary. We're using an average daily attendance of 1380, which is where we ended this past year. Now, we're hold harmless on this year, so we're not being paid on 1380, but if they had not held us harmless, this is exactly what our average daily attendance was for the year, 1380. So these numbers are based on hoping that we maintain or improve, but not any reduction. So if we get 2 or 3 months into the year and we see our enrollment maybe has dropped by 10 students, then we would make some adjustments in the budget, you know, maybe some things that are possible expenditures that we might hold off on, if we lose a few more kids. But anyway, we're hoping that's not the case. And you can see there what our estimated net taxable is at this point. Everything in this preliminary includes all of the salary schedules and a 2% increase for anybody who wasn't included in the schedule. We also have a reduction of 6 staff members, which if you remember was it the last meeting or the one before, where we kind of talked about the ESSER funds and the fact that with our enrollment drop, we've kind of got to get our staffing in line. So we've got 6 members that we did not replace, 2 aides, 2 bus drivers, 1 administrator, and a teacher. And that's all reflected in the numbers as an absorption. The next page is just a chart that shows the values, and it just kind of gives you a visual of how the values have increased over the years. And then the next one is our rate. You can also see it has decreased slightly. It's been pretty steady, but they gave House Bill 3 had that compression rate. They introduced a compression rate, and so our rate will always follow the compression rate, and that's what would cause us to go down again this year, because our compression rate has gone down a little bit. And part of that is because we have such a really good collection rate. Love that people here pay their taxes. It's really nice, really nice. The next page shows the grants, because they play a big part in our general fund, being able to supplement our programs. This is not a complete list. We have a few very minor grants that we don't have released entitlement amounts yet. We don't know what we're going to get. So I didn't list them, but they're both of those are typically less than $10,000. So we'll get notified at some point on those. The bottom 2 are new. They're the ESSER funds. There's still 2 rounds of ESSER in effect, and ESSER 2 and 3. ESSER 2 actually goes all the way through August of 2023, and ESSER 3 goes August 2024. Which is the carryover period. And our plan is to use that ESSER money over the next 2 years to help us have some time to either recoup some children or to get our expenses in line with the numbers that we have. So Ms. White is in charge of these grants, and she is already holding meetings, and there'll be more public hearings and different things to work out all the particulars on how to use that. But part of it will be used to supplement the payroll side of general fund. Any questions on those so far? I went ahead and included the slides that we did a couple of years ago. There's some key questions that board members really should know and should ask if they don't know. And we'll go through those very quickly. These have been updated to include current data. And one of them has to do with fund balance. And you'll note that beginning in between the school year 2018 and 19, we began increasing our fund balance, adding back to our fund balance. So we ended last year with 5.3 million in the fund balance. This is all just general operating. Second question that everybody asks, and this is actually something that's reflected in our first rating, the hearing that we have to have, is you have to have a certain number of months. They want you to have some cushion there. And this 5.3 million last year actually calculated out to be 4.5 months. That's a little deceiving because that was the year that we didn't really do anything in the spring. We didn't, travel anywhere. We didn't have ball games. We didn't have conferences. So we saved some money. We didn't have subs, So we saved some money. So the expenses are a little skewed, which makes that number a little high. It wouldn't really calculate out to be 4.5 months. It'd be closer to 4, maybe just barely slightly under 4. That's still really good. The next thing is the collection rate. This is, it helps to have decent values to collect on, but if you can't collect, it doesn't do you a lot of good. We don't have that problem here. We ended last year collecting almost 99.5%, and that's been pretty standard. We haven't dropped below 99% since the 2014 school year. The next thing is the assumptions that the current budget, the budget that will be ending next month, this is just some data to kind of compare to that front page, showing you where we budgeted this year based on 1,450 ADA, and we ended with 1,380. So kind of shows you 1,450 was actually lower than we had budgeted the previous year. We kind of were hedging our bets that we wouldn't lose again, and anyway, so we're going to budget for 1,380 this next year. Then the fact that so much of our budget is based, so much of our budget includes salaries, that you need to watch the staffing ratios, the student staff and student teacher ratios. So you can kind of see the trend, and what you don't want to have happen is have your ratios go down if your enrollment's going down. Your ratio needs to stay very steady, if not go up. If you're staffed properly or equally, if you're running really good on your staffing and your revenue, and everything's running fine, and your enrollment starts to drop, then you don't necessarily need your ratio to go up, but you need it to hold steady. So you can kind of see there, where we're going, where we're headed, and our goal is to try to get back to where maybe the 16, 17, 17, 18 school year, 18, 19, where it was a pretty steady line there, which isn't a lot. When you're looking at student teacher, the ratio doesn't look like it needs to change a lot. When you start running the numbers, it involves quite a few people, but we're aware of it and very committed to monitoring our student population and trying to manage this number through attrition. As people get a job somewhere else, you evaluate or whatever. We keep this in the forefront of our minds to make sure we don't let that get out of whack. And then the last thing is with the revenue sources, and we are very heavily dependent on tax base here. Because our tax base is so good, we get less state money. There's a formula, so as our taxes go up, the state gives us less. And it's, our tax rate drives some of it, but we're in a precarious situation where, because our values are so high, that if we raise our tax rate, if we were to have an election and raise the tax rate, we'd wind up sending some of it back to the state. So I think we're fortunate that we're able to keep the rate low for the taxpayers, have really good collection rates, so we don't have to fight that issue. And we don't have to send money back. Did the calculations this week, and I had a friend of mine look it over who's dealt with recapture before too, and We should not have to have recapture this year, as we were told by TEA. We will not have that issue, and we should not have it next year. In the future, as we go forward, the values are going to continue to go up. That's just, I don't know how you stop that, really. Because the appraisal districts are held to a standard, So, the values are going to go up. So as the values go up, if our student population continues to drop, there's going to become a gap. In time. I'm hoping that we're not going to have that problem, first of all. But if we do, it's years down the road. It would have to be kind of a perfect storm for us to lose a ton of kids and have the values, really go out the roof. So anyway, that should not be an issue this time of year. We've not been contacted by TEA as far as I know. This time last year, we had already been contacted and told that we were in, potentially, going to be in recapture. But we've not been contacted this year. And I personally, looking at the numbers, don't see it even 10 years from now. But you can't predict what's going to happen, with your enrollment. So we're hoping that everybody comes back on August the what?
Plus
12th?
some.
Plus some. Bring a
That's
friend.
right, bring a friend.
We're gonna do the Sunday school thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Good prize.
That's right, that's right.
Thank you.
Those who bring the most visitors.
Exactly, who can bring in the most, so anyway. The only thing I would say about this year's budget, the one we're finishing up, is that we expect it to break even. We budgeted a surplus, about $287,000, I believe it was. And with our enrollment dropping again, we saw really early on that wasn't going to happen. But they also told us we were being held harmless. So our revenue, even though it's down, it's not down as much as it could have been if we'd been paid on 1380. So between the hold harmless and the ESSER money coming in, we will break even, because it doesn't make a lot of sense to eat into your fund balance when you've got ESSER money sitting there that is for this very thing. So we will finagle that to the point that we will break even on that. And I'm not presenting food service or debt service. Those are minor funds for the district, and they're pretty set in stone. I mean, they work off of pretty stagnant numbers. I'll tell you that it looks like food service will show another surplus this year. Since I've been here, they have. I don't really know the history, but I ran the numbers today, and they're doing fine, so they'll be fine. And debt services, we have already collected enough to pay the debt for the year, so we're okay on that too. Any questions? I didn't dig into the meat of what all goes into the budget, but I'm happy to answer any questions if something stuck out to you. When we come back sometime late July or the first 2 or 3 days of August, we will need to have another meeting, have a little more in depth. You'll actually have the budget sheet, the one that shows by function and all that. I could have brought that tonight, but it's going to change so much depending on people getting hired and how much money we flip over to ESSER and all that kind of stuff. But we'll have all that, and we'll have a tax rate to recommend that we propose, and run the paper and do all that. We're required this year, the appraisal district is actually required, and I think the penalties are pretty heavy, so they've been kind of hammering all of us entities. They have to do some sort of website and do some postcards you'll get a postcard in the mail with any taxing entity that you pay to, whether it be a water district or county or whatever, with the tax rate information on it. And that has to be posted by August 6th. So in order to get that number to her, you know, I'll get the certified values on July 26th, and so we have to have a meeting and you know, get that number proposed so that we can get that to her in time to get posted and get those postcards out.
So the earlier, when you get that, the better for you?
When I get the values, now I could get them early, but my understanding is they've done interim and, you know, so I'm not banking on getting them early. But by law, they have to have them to us by the 25th, which is a Sunday, so that rolls to the 26th. So if I don't get them till the 26th, it will probably take 2 or 3 days. I have to get with Sue Ann at the county office. She has the software that does it. They buy it for all the entities. And so I'll get with her. I would think by Thursday or Friday of that week, I could probably have, it would probably be easier for me to do it like on Monday or Tuesday, because then that would give me the weekend to make sure all my numbers are where I need them to be. But, so I was kind of thinking,
First week of August.
yeah, that first week of August, maybe on Monday or Tuesday, and if we don't have to do anything else, it could be a noon quick deal or whatever. But I'm just trying to give you a heads up of what we'll have to do. You'll have the budget sheets.
Will you need to send it in before than that? Just looking at our next meeting, our regular meeting in August will be the 9th.
Oh, yes.
You know all that, I guess.
Have it before
Because then they'll have it by the 6th.
Yeah, she has to put the postcards in the mail on the 6th.
We're good off, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
sure.
they have to be stamped in or whatever, postmarked.
Okay.
We'll work towards getting that done. And you'll have, you know, some more in-depth information. We'll recap some of this and give you final numbers on value, on our certified values and our tax rate and where we're going to be budget-wise. It is encouraging. I looked at it this afternoon. Our expenditure budget from the 2021 that we're in now compared to what we have projected so far in 2022, and that's without any ESSER supplement. Our expenditures are only going up around $300,000, which, you know, when you consider salary increases, steps, all the things that go into payroll, that's a very good number for me, you know, that it's only that much. The problem is that our revenue's going way down. You know, our revenue's taking a dip because of not being held harmless this year. So there's going to be a gap. We're going to be able to cover it with ESSER. And then still, I mean, we've got enough ESSER money, we'll be doing other things. It won't just work for that. But anyway, I was encouraged that we didn't increase our expenses by, you know, a whole lot, considering we're working towards a leaner, running a leaner business here. So, anyway, any questions? Is there anything I left out you felt like I need to get on?
Now, in regard to ESSER funds, we are splitting that money up, especially the ESSER 3. We were working on that with site-based. We had a site-based, district site-based meeting yesterday that we discussed some of that. The ESSER 3 money, that $2,008,000, we're working on a plan that does divide that evenly, pretty much evenly up over 2 years. Covers some salaries, covers 20% out of the 2.8 has to go to learning loss and tutorials. So we've taken that out, 20% out each year. It covers salaries. We're looking at in regard to some facility issues, some HVAC units and things like that, being able to replace with that. Part of the grant talks about air quality, air purification. So we met with site-based yesterday, and we'll be presenting that to you here in a couple of weeks as well. Because we have to have another public hearing on that, which will be in a board meeting, and then you have to give approval for Jack to move forward with applying for the grant.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Pam, your blessing. Item 4, consider approval of the consent agenda. I know that we need to look at.
We'll make one correction to the agenda,
To the minutes.
sorry, to the minutes, apologize for that, yeah, to the minutes. Should read Leanne doing the prayer. I think it had notated for Aaron doing the prayer, so just that change in the minutes from last meeting.
So we'll strike Leanne Ramsey and add or strike Aaron Sanders and add Leanne Ramsey on the prayer, and anything else on the consent agenda? Any motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda with the correction as noted.
Motion is made by Brooke, seconded by Linda, all 4. 6-0. Our action item, consider approval of the MBISD 2021-2022 compensation plan. We have some new stuff in here, y'all probably looked at already.
All right, so what we have for you, Chandra is out today, so I'm gonna go over this with you, is, what she has added is the updated 21-22 stipend extra duty list. We've tried to be pretty encompassing on this, so if there is something that somebody does that is extra duty, that they know already what the stipend will be on that and what it will pay. Broke it down to academic, special services, administrative operations, athletic duties, and so all the things that go along with that. All the way down to being the person who is the baseball pitch counter, which is required. So, also, in what we have is substitute pay information for 21-22, non-degree substitute $80, bachelor's degree substitute $90, certified teacher substitute $100. There are some areas there that we have to pull in. The cafeteria worker is $10 an hour, maintenance custodial is $9.50, bus driver or bus monitor shows $17 and $10 respectively per hour. If on the substitute, if the daily rate for 10 or more full-day assignments in a calendar month increases non-degree to 105, bachelor's degree to 115, certified teacher substitute to 125. In case of a long-term illness or out having a baby or something like that right there. Okay. We also, in this, which you've already approved, which is the teacher pay scale, which we acted on in May, I believe. What we've now done is what we've not had before. Chandra and Melody and some others have spent a lot of time working on this, is to try to get everybody else outside of administrators on a salary scale, so that when we hire somebody new in, that we know exactly what that person should be paid based upon years of experience and experience itself. So you see there's a paraprofessional salary scale, there's a secretary salary scale, bus driver salary scale, cafeteria salary scale, cafeteria manager salary scale, custodian salary scale, custodial supervisor scale, general maintenance scale, maintenance plumbing HVAC scale, maintenance mechanic scale, maintenance electrician scale. So those scales we want to present to you for approval to begin using moving forward. Everybody will have been or will be set in on this scale. Nobody goes backwards based upon the scale of what they currently make. We have some that we did have to make some adjustments because for whatever reason, when they were hired, they might have been hired by a different supervisor and might not have been where others had been hired in at. So this is our way of getting everybody on an equal playing field based upon the numbers of years of experience in the job that they do. Another part, well, first, any questions in regard to that right there? Any of the pay scales? I don't know that there might be one or two people because of where they already were that might not be considered at a true 2%. It might be like 1.98% of an increase of what they're seeing, but pretty much everybody here is going to be at 2% or above in regard to what they would see as a salary difference moving forward. And in regard to those, for everybody else who is not on the teacher pay scale or any of the previously just shared pay scales with you, basically on administrators, I'd like to make the recommendation based upon even the budget that Ms. Pam just shared of what we're looking at with ESSER funds there available and what we have
would be to do a 2% pay increase for the listed administrators that you have, outside of the exception of Terry Epps, Chris Partridge, Melody Pope, and Coach Willard, whose would be adjusted a little bit differently. Some might not quite be 2%, some will be a little bit more than 2%, based upon either extra duties or realizing that where we brought them in at was undervalued for the role that they had. So be a 2% for administrators listed outside of those that I just mentioned.
What about the first one?
Hers was already changed because of the position change.
So we.
Correct, that's right, so her, yes, hers, sorry, on Desiree's, hers is as listed would not change from what it currently is, because she was changed when she moved, when she took the
When she
position.
took the position, okay.
Yes, when she took the assistant principal position.
Because that's the only one that didn't have.
Correct.
Okay, so that's.
Correct, sorry, thank you for clarifying that.
Any questions on that? So I need a motion that we approve the MVISD 2021-2022 compensation plan and admin increase as presented. Do I have a motion for that? Motion made by Linda, seconded by Robert. All for that? That's 6-0.
Thank you all very much, thank you.
All right, those are the only action items, so at this time, we will convene the closed session. So the board now convenes in closed meeting to discuss the personnel matters as posted on the agenda and allowed by Texas Government Code, Chapter 551074 at 5:47 p.m. Okay, we're ready, sir. Okay. 6:44 p.m., the board convened back into open session. This time, personnel report. Dr. McCullough?
Yes, sir. I want to acknowledge new hires since our last meeting. Connie Ruiz, middle school special education teacher, Shelley Walker, high school art teacher, Megan Law, elementary teacher, and Jody Walker, high school ELA teacher, as well as Jacob Mooney, who will be a teacher and coach, and Dusty Jane, who will be our new middle school assistant principal. Knowledge resignations received since the last board meeting, Lori Bolt and Michael Hamilton. And that is the, he's one of the assistant band directors. I don't have the name. We did just believe that they made a recommendation for a gentleman today coming from Dangerfield. I do not have his name. Just seeing that made me think about that. So.
Okay. Any further business? All right, meeting adjourned.
Oh, real quick, hang before we adjourn. Our next meetings will be, we will have a July 22nd meeting that we will post to start at, it'll be a noon meeting, but will actually be posted to start 12:10. And we will also have an August 3rd meeting. The July 22nd meeting will be basically to have a public hearing and act upon the SR Grant funds. And then we'll have an August 3rd meeting, again, a noon meeting to post to start at 12:10 again. And that will be to propose tax rate. Okay, sorry, let me just stop you.
Yep.
Want to get that out there.
Okay. Bye-bye. Adjourned for 6:46 p.m.
Thank you very much.